My name is Tyler Krebs, and I live with my wife Allie, and we have a 10-year-old daughter named Ava, and a 7-year-old son named Casey, and a 4-year-old son named Brady. And I teach at a high school. I also coach football in the fall, Olympic weightlifting in the winter, track in the spring, so we're a pretty active household. We love to go outside in our backyard and jump on our trampoline, and we've got a basketball hoop and play hockey and ride bikes.
We're active. We like to go swim, we like to go on walks, we like to go to the park. During my first pregnancy, I was actually diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
There always are extra concerns with a diabetic mother, and she went through the first 2 pregnancies really very normally.
We were hoping, to have a larger family, so we were excited to have our third. A little bit anxious as the years had passed. My diabetes had gotten increasingly a little more difficult to control. Brady, I had a very difficult pregnancy with him. Because of the diabetes, he got most of the stereotypical effects from the type 1.
We had talked about banking cord blood before our first child. I think had heard a lot of things about it and felt like it would be a good thing to do. The first 2 times we just didn't do it. And then when we knew Brady was going to be our last child, with the complications with Allie's pregnancy, the doctors and us agreed that this would be our last child. At that point, we decided we needed to bank the cord blood. And really our thought process behind it was we were hoping to be able to use it down the road for our kids or for Allie with diabetes. We thought with the third baby that we would have a very normal pregnancy like the first 2. So when we had the issues with Brady, it was very unexpected. Brady was born, came out, and it was silent. And they immediately said cold blue, and there was 20 nurses that came in the room, and they put an oxygen mask on him, and then he went right to a table and they started doing chest compressions.
And I looked over at Tyler, and his face was just white. And at that point, we didn't know what was going on.
It was 4 minutes to get his heart beating again. The baby went to the NICU. They had him hooked up to every machine possible. All of his organs had failed. So the first hours were just keep him alive. And I just remember asking, is he going to live?
A week or so into his stay at the NICU, they had told us, the severity of his damage.
So we knew he had a lot of brain trauma, and so that was the big concern. After we knew he was going to live, is what's his brain going to look like?
Brady was officially diagnosed with cerebral palsy. It was the same day that we had the MRI. They had told us originally was that he may or may not walk. I just remember breaking down and having the picture of what his life would be growing up, and having it be a very different lifestyle for our whole family. At about 6 months old, we got a letter from ViaCord saying that there was going to be a study at Duke University using a patient's stem cells to see if that would help with the cerebral palsy.
When we received the letter, we said, wow, this is exactly what we want. Let's do something with him now, and try to help him as much as we can to have a normal life. Our doctors did a great job, during the process of getting as much usable cells as possible, and so we were able to do it 4 times. So we went when he was 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. We noticed every time that he had the infusion that he made big strides. We just noticed huge amounts of energy and movement. When he was 1 and 1.5, after that he started walking on his own, and the ones when he was around 2, we really saw big jumps in verbalizations.
Brady really doesn't have many limitations today, physically, I would say. He can keep up or go beyond what, kids his own age are doing. If you were a stranger and had just met Brady, you would think that he's a normal, typical 4-year-old little boy.
We're extremely active, and to see Brady running and jumping and playing with his siblings and try to read a book now and do all the things that we did with the other kids that we didn't know we'd be able to do. And at this point, they don't feel he needs any more physical or occupational therapy. It's a miracle, and it's so much fun to see. We tell everyone that we talk to, it's definitely something you should look into. And again, we weren't expecting the brain injuries. No one does. But to me, it's a very minor investment for the possibility of something bad happening.
if I were to have another child, I would definitely bank that cord blood again. I would tell anyone, you never know what's going to happen. I think that, again, it just changed our lives.
For all your kids, you just want them to live a long, happy, normal life. You want them to experience, getting married, having a job, having a family. And right now, we feel like he's a very normal, active, happy 4-year-old, and we're just very blessed.